Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
Sikkim is the smallest state of India. How small? Today it just has about 6 lakh people, which makes it 1/3 the population of Goa. Why are we talking about Sikkim today? Because our news peg is that BJP has now made its big move in Sikkim. BJP wants to conquer every state in India, especially every state in the northeast. And so what if it's a state of just 6 lakh people? For BJP, no prize is too small. BJP is on the political equivalent of an Ashwamedh Yagya. It has to conquer every state of India. So what's happened today? Of the opposition party in Sikkim, the main opposition party, 10 of the 13 members have joined BJP. Now you might say, what is 10 people? What is a party of 13? It's not like that. Because Sikkim is a very tiny state, it has a very tiny assembly. The strength of the assembly is just 32. Of these 32, 3 seats are vacant. In the recent elections, in May this year, the new ruling party, that is Prem Singh Tamang's party, Sikkim Krantikari Morcha, SKM, they won 16 seats. So of 29, 15 is majority. This party is a thin majority of 1. Now 10 go to the BJP, excluding former chief minister. 3 more remain outside. It's a matter of time. I won't be surprised if they go to BJP also. 3 by-elections are yet to be held. In fact, the chief minister himself has to go for elections because he's not yet an elected MLA. And so BJP is now very close to power. I can't put it past them. In fact, going by their record in Goa and other states, they are quite likely to go after the ruling family now and break people away from there. So that is where Sikkim stands. But this also gives me an excuse to talk about one state in the northeast that is different from the others, essentially because it is not contiguous to the other 6. But also because while it's a very tiny state, it is strategically very important. The pass of Nathula, which is one of the main sort of routes to Tibet and one of the main possible routes of ingress into India, is in Sikkim. That is where the tri-junction with Bhutan is. That is where the area of Doklam, where trouble took place in 2017 is. I'm just mentioning these to you to make you understand the strategic importance of Sikkim. Because as we heard often enough during the Doklam crisis, if the Chinese just come up to there, they can just look down on that tiny sliver of territory, the Siliguri neck, which links all of northeast India with the Indian mainland. So Sikkim is to that extent a very strategic place. Now, how did Sikkim become a part of India? Sikkim did not become a part of India in 1947-48. It's the only state. In some ways, there is also Dadra and Nagar Haveli and others, but Sikkim is a full-fledged state which became a part of India only in 1975. It was a princely state under the British, like Bhutan. In 1948, by the time the British were leaving, India decided that Sikkim and Bhutan were both to continue having their own special status, with some powers remaining with India. With Bhutan, the powers India had were confined to foreign policy, and those came from a treaty that the Bhutanese signed with government of India. That has since been diluted. Bhutan is a fully sovereign state now. Sikkim was a different matter. Sikkim became an Indian protectorate. So what is a protectorate? It is something, it's an expression we don't use very much these days in in today's global politics. But a protectorate is one where a larger power controls most of its powers and most of its authority and decision-making choices. And that process or that phenomenon is called suzerainty. Suzerainty is different from sovereignty. Sovereignty is, now China has sovereignty over Tibet. But because India had suzerainty over Sikkim, India controlled its foreign policy, defense policy, communication policies, most policies, but a protectorate has some internal autonomy, whereas a suzerain is almost like a formalized colonial arrangement. Now that was unsustainable as times changed. So this kind of suzerainty, suzerain protectorate arrangement was okay in 1948 in the world which was just decolonizing, but was not sustainable in the long run. So something had to give. Either Sikkim had to break away or India had to make it more formally a part of the republic. So a series of events started, first with the war with China, which heightened India's insecurities from those frontiers, also the concern about the Siliguri neck. Second, in 1963, the ruler of Sikkim, Chogyal as he was called, he married an American woman, Hope Cook, a 22-year-old New Yorker, glamorous, very attractive, and suddenly it brought Sikkim into global attention. So a lot of world media, particularly American media, discovered Sikkim. That further increased India's insecurities because this became, remember, China was then also an enemy of the West. So this became kind of a new great game or Cold War region. So from then on, a series of events unfolded whereby in the next 12 years, 1975, Sikkim became a part of India. It followed a referendum in Sikkim in which 97.5% of the Sikkimese voted to become a part of India. So again, a unique situation. We talk about plebiscite all the time in connection with Kashmir. Obviously, India has rejected that notion now, but Sikkim became a part of India through a plebiscite. Now, how did that happen? We need to understand. One, because Sikkim has a peculiar demographic structure. Its ruling family and the elites were all Bhutia Lepchas of Tibetan origin. But its population is overwhelmingly of the Nepalese extraction. So Bhutia Lepchas are just about 13-14%. Nepalese are about 80%. Another 5-6% are outsiders or people go and settle and like that. So it was the majority Nepalese who saw the rise of democracy in India, who were impatient with what was happening in Sikkim, did not want to be ruled by a king, even though the king was sanctified in the Buddhist tradition. The king drew his power from the Rumtek monastery. If you go to Gangtok, don't forget to visit Rumtek monastery. It's one of the most beautiful you can see anywhere. In fact, the king had even practiced preaching there, learning and preaching there, but a majority of the population did not want it. So, since we are talking Sikkim, we can also talk some characters there, since the place has been so interesting and so exotic. So, just as the Chogyal, the ruler, married this young American woman, Hope Cook, who was then called Her Highness Hope La, or the Gyalmo of Sikkim. The ruler was Chogyal, the queen was Gyalmo. Kazi Lendup Dorji, who was the prime minister in the Chogyal's Darbar and who became the main pro-democracy and pro-India force. He also had a Scottish wife, who was actually widely acknowledged to be the power behind the throne. Her name was Eliza Maria Langford Ray. She was Scottish. She became a Buddhist in Burma, where she spent some time, and she was widely rumored to have been pursued and chased or wooed by none else than George Orwell. So you're going back a long time. Remember, Kazi died, Kazi, not Q. Kazi died in 2007 at the age of 102. So you're going back really a very long time. So Kazi became, for a lot of the Chogyalites and Indian agents, for India, an Indian patriot. 75, Sikkim became a part of India. Not everybody in India was happy. Some people were very angry. Among those was B.G. Varghese, eminent editor of Hindustan Times, who wrote an editorial headline, Kanchenjunga, here we come, and because of that lost his job. Remember, those days Indira Gandhi was very tough, and 17 April, when he wrote that editorial, was just 5 weeks before the emergency, 17th April 1975. Then Sikkim, as a state of India, also learned Indian democracy. And as that happened, political instability started. So Kazi became the first chief minister with his own regional party, but as soon as the emergency was declared, Sanjay Gandhi pressured him to join the Congress. He joined the Congress. As soon as the Congress lost that election, he was made to join the Janata Party. Janata Party lost. By that time, he had lost his political capital, and even Indira Gandhi would not give him the time of day. So he became a spent force and died then an isolated man. With the decline of Kazi Lendup Dorji, the logic of numbers took over, as it does in a democracy. So since then, all the political elites in Sikkim have been of Nepalese origin, as all its chief ministers. So there is B.B. Gurung, there is Nar Bahadur Bhandari twice, there was then Pawan Kumar Chambling, 24 years, and now Prem Singh Tamang. And that's how the state's politics is right now. Now, two things. One, about the immediate political story. Prem Singh Tamang is still not an elected member of the state assembly. So he has to contest. Second, he was disqualified because he was convicted for corruption in December 2016. He was disqualified. We still don't know whether he is entitled or legally allowed to hold public office or not. That case is pending with the Election Commission. So that EC sword is hanging on his neck. So as they say in rear view mirrors, objects in the mirror are much closer than they seem. So when the BJP has made this big move in Sikkim, they know what's coming, or they have the power to influence what is coming. So I think it's a matter of time before there is change in Sikkim. So now that we are done with immediate politics, just a note in passing. All of us reporters pay our dues doing one thing in our lives. So I paid my dues covering the Northeast between 1981 to 83, posted there as the Indian Express's correspondent there. My first story in Sikkim was the funeral of the Chogyal. He died on 29th January 1982. So I did land there, and as I landed there, I can tell you there was much buzz about this Intelligence Bureau officer who had just finished his posting there and left, and no prizes for guessing. His name was Ajit Kumar Doval. So you know, some people, when they land up in some place, there will be action there. Also, you want to know more about Sikkim, or if you're interested in history, I'd say read Sunanda Datta Ray's Smash and Grab. I don't agree with that book in its essence, but it's a very well written book. Also, Hope Cook's Princess, or Gyalmo Hope Cook's autobiography, which is Time Change, an American woman's extraordinary story, published by Simon & Schuster. She, I believe, lives in London now in her 80s. So read those books, and I think you will get more interested in such an exotic and such an important and such a strategic state.